Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm doing another podcast to discuss the Kenyan politics and where we have reached so far, and the reason why Kenyan politics is becoming interesting every day. So, that is what I'm coming to discuss here today. And as usual, I want us to think together with an aim of understanding where we are going, where we are coming from, and how are things now. It is true that life in Kenya is not good. It is a bit difficult, and people are crying. People feel the government is not doing enough. People feel their government is not serving them, and that is the reason why today I have a topic: how ZAKAYO is facilitating another president. You know, we have never reached a point in Kenya when somebody is serving his first term, and we have so many people who are showing interest, even people without experience, even people who have never thought of politics, of becoming leaders. That is how ZAKAYO is facilitating the next president of Kenya. For your information, Mr. Ruto will make Kenya get an expected president. We could be thinking of big names which are already walking in our streets, but we forget that tough times, just like what the Dubai billionaire said, tough times create strong men, and good times create weak men, and weak men create tough times, and the cycle continues. What do I mean? Mr. ZAKAYO, Mr. William Ruto is participating in creating bad life in Kenya. So what does that one mean? That one means that Kenyans are hardening and toughening. That means very soon, even people who have never dreamt of being leaders will see a necessity and a need of wanting to become leaders in Kenya. And that is something which Mr. ZAKAYO needs to get scared of. He should not get scared of the people who already have political experience. That is not the main thing in the current political momentum which is being created. In fact, the people who we should concentrate on are the people who their names have never been in ballot again. There is a possibility in 2027 Kenyans could elect someone who has never been in the ballot again. Why would that happen? There is a lot of frustration, there is a lot of hopelessness, and now people feel uh, they can they can they can take action in their head. People now feel politicians have failed them. People feel people with big money have failed them. There is desperation. No one feels like the government can get back into its platform again. People feel Kenyan government is gone and gone forever, for the worst. We have never reached a time where even people with bad countries or people who their governance is not good, we have never reached a point whereby people feel pity for us. I have been talking with the people. I talk with the people. You hear people from Somalia, people who have been having civil war for the last 30 years. They are now pitting Kenya. You talk with the people from Cameroon, they are pitting Kenya. They are now saying, wow, whatever is happening in Kenya, we can't understand. You talk with the people in Nigeria, who, again, their issues are not very good. They are pitting Kenya. Everybody who is having bad governance in the world, including Ugandans, by the way, who have perennially been under the yoke of Museveni. Today they are pitting Kenya. They are asking our brothers, what happened to you? We knew that we were the only people in this circumstance. How comes you people, you chose our direction of thinking? Now even countries which their issues are very dire, Chad, Southern Sudan, they feel Kenya need to be pitied. Ama Kenya ni nchi inafaa kuhurumiwa. That is where we are as a nation, dear brothers and sisters. But that one should not make us to worry, because always in any democracy, we get people like Mr. William Ruto, people who become as a learning lesson for future. We always have such people. Germany and Hitler, they will never want to go there. So every democracy has its low moment. Every democracy has its low moment. So Kenya should not worry of the situation which is happening to us. It's a democracy on learning. And the democracy is a learning algorithm. You never exhaust it. But the problem or the tragedy for Kenyans would be if they don't take notes and use those notes for future about ZAKAYO. If ZAKAYO will not teach Kenyans anything, that is when you need to get worried. But as long as Kenyans are learning something from ZAKAYO, we are good, we are okay, things are perfect. Why? Because ZAKAYO is the president who we can be able to remove very fast. We should be able to remove ZAKAYO very fast. For your information, ladies and gentlemen, ZAKAYO has panicked. ZAKAYO knows that his days are numbered. You people, if you have seen the newspaper of today, we have two great headlines which are showing us that these people are on panic mode. And the civilians, the silent majority can speak and will speak in 2027. Why? There is a story that Mr. William Ruto Analytics or group has been acquiring a software with an aim of misinformation to Kenyans so that he can improve his popularity. Let me repeat that statement again. Mr. William Ruto has bought a software to improve his popularity. What does he want to do? It was supposed to be doing misinformation within Kenya, but I'm hearing there are some people who have gone to court to protect Kenyans against the use of that software. So they had bought a software worth 200 million. I'm hearing. It is supposed to be intertwined with all these popular social media networks. And then we were supposed to be having counter responses of some of the places whereby we are criticizing him or we are not very good with him. That is where we are, number one. Then number two, Mr. Ruto friends are also saying they want to do away with reporting of electoral votes live. His presidency was declared through a live vote. But Mr. William Ruto does not want the next Kenyan president to be declared on a live vote. So there are people in his wing who are now saying a time of Kenya to declare results is gone. What now we need to do is votes are counted under the table and then the election winner is just announced. That is how far and how long our democracy is going. That is how backward we are returning. Kenya is reversing at an accelerated speed, 80 kilometers per hour, going backward. That is where we are with this regime. Even some things which Mr. Moi could not think of, this regime is trying to think of them. And these are things which we should not take as a muzah. Even things which Mr. Moi did not think of, Mr. William Ruto and his regime are thinking of them. And that is why we have to be very careful of our next response in the ballot. Our next response in the ballot has to be sacred, whole, and good. We have to think about our life, and we have to think about our children and the children of our children. We should not think about any other thing else. Anything else is secondary. There are now signs of criminality happening everywhere in Kenya. There are so many bad things which are happening in Kenya, and the Kenyan government at the moment does not seem to care. Insecurity, high time high, the biggest numbers ever. People are getting lost, deaths, mayhem, so bad things happening in our nation this time around. As we speak, you have heard of doctors who are even raping patients in institutions of where they work. We had that issue of Kiambu, Plainsview Hospital, where a doctor raped a patient on a gynecologist examination. That is where we are now. We are at a very, very bad point of a nation. And people have started to regroup, although people are regrouping with some scare. And that is why I'm saying tonight that Mr. ZAKAYO, William Ruto, is helping the next president of Kenya to win, whoever that man is. The biggest campaigner for the next Kenyan president is Mr. William Ruto. Why? Because Mr. William Ruto has abandoned any sacred deeds which have ever existed in Kenya. We had Akina Kebaki. We had Akina Uhuru. No one attempted some of the things which are happening in our nation these days. No one attempted to take us fugitive, to take us captive. No one attempted those things. No one attempted to think for us. We now have the first regime in the world which has decided that Kenyans are idiots and Kenyans need to be told what to do and what to think about. That is where we are. People have to be brought to us who have not been voted through the ballot, and we accept it because the president feels good about them. That is where we are as a nation. Our nation has slided into a place where we can only recover it through our muscle and the strength of thinking and the will of vote. So 2027, we have to crawl to the ballot box. 2027, we have to run to the ballot box and we vote these people out. All the signs of a bad governance have been seen. We don't need John Jadel aniongelesha Gaide Kajiro. Yes, nimesalimika sana. Karibuni sana and keep subscribing. It is Jiro Mwaura, type Jiro Mwaura unanipata. So what I mean is that all the signs of bad governance are out in the air. Ama dalili yote ya serikali mbaya imeonekana Kenya. Na itakuwa jambo ya kuhuzunisha sana kama viongozi wa sasa, wale watu wanatuongoza sasa, wanaweza pata muhula wa pili. The newspaper today is saying that Mr. Gachagua, it is a newspaper which is saying, Daily Nation, Taifa Leo, all of them, Mr. Gachagua is getting bubonic support in Mount Kenya region. And in the meantime, he has been instructed by the government to stop any political process, otherwise he will not enjoy the state security and what comes from the state with it. So I'm hearing this time around, Mr. Gachagua is relying on bouncers, wale majamaa wa vifua vikubwa vikubwa na vijoka karikari hapa. He is relying on bouncers. I don't know how long bouncers will work with Gachagua. I'm not sure of that. But from the look of the thing, it shows Gachagua is building momentum and he is becoming a real person. That is why the government is becoming very real on him. And I feel the more the government wants to mistreat Gachagua, the more actually they are taking people to him. Gachagua might have not been an attractive person few days ago, but the government of Mr. William Ruto has done all the necessary efforts to make sure that this man becomes popular. And you know, politics loves sympathy by nature. Politics is is a sympathy carrier. So what do I mean? Kenya has reached a level where Kenyans have to take a decision at their earth. I know we have 3 years to go. We still feel desperation and we feel where is our help coming from. These 3 years are supposed to be our meditation. We have to meditate and tell ourselves that these 3 years should tell us the bad things which have happened to us, the bad things which have made us to be where we are. We should actually use these 3 years to think and think and think of how to remove ZAKAYO. That is the only thing we should be doing for the next 3 years, thinking of how to remove this guy. We cannot forget, these are the people who promised heaven and earth, but they gave us stone. They promised bread, they gave us stone. They are now even going to the end of wanting to change law to fit them because their popularity has reached a dead rock. Mr. William Ruto knows his popularity in Kenya is below 20%. Ladies and gentlemen, he is aware. That is why he is hiring a company to come and tamper with our communication system so that we can have miscommunication. The newspaper is saying today they have bought a software worth 200 million. So that software is intertwined with our communication platforms, YouTube, TikTok, everywhere. And that software will be giving only good information about ZAKAYO. So that is misinformation war. But I'm hearing there are people who heard that story and they have gone to court. So I still do not know if ZAKAYO friend will administer that software to Kenya. I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, if you hear something good coming from software, including some of these AI things, which maybe they might want even to recreate Mr. William Ruto's voices with AI things, where he is like trying to do cloud chasing, political cloud chasing. Don't follow that. Just know that they are people on higher mission trying to market pork in Saudi Arabia, if we have to say that. And you know pork cannot be eaten in Saudi Arabia. Ladies and gentlemen, the winds of a regime change are visible. Even kids can see it. This is the only man I see even kids have no positivity to him. You are hearing kids saying, must go. You are hearing who saying, must go. So things have not worked for this gentleman from day one. He got power. He captured power through the antics of cheating. But remember, you cannot stay in power through the antics of cheating. You have to stay in work through service delivered. There is nothing beyond that. And we always say that it doesn't matter. Miaka tano itaisha. 5 years will end. That's what we are saying. Miaka tano itaisha. And Nisawa, we can take these 5 years of Mr. William Ruto. But I want to tell him, the next 5 years for re-election will be the biggest thing for him. He will do the greatest politics in Kenya, but will not achieve anything. I don't think Kenyans will be ready to listen to him. I don't think there is anything he will be able to tell Kenyans because there's nothing which is happening in the grassroots. Unless if you tell me that Kenyans will be ready to vote for somebody who is not doing chochote. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a country to save and a country to protect. Mr. Saitoti, one day before he died, he said, it comes, I think it was before the 2-2, it comes a time, and I say it again, it comes a time when the country becomes important than an individual. I say it now in a loud voice. It comes a time when the nation is more important than the current regime. Kenyans, ladies and gentlemen, it comes a time when the nation becomes more important than the current regime. I was in social media once again, trying to tell people why they should not elect the regime which is mistreating us now. Many people have qualified us, we were right that time. But guys, we don't need to think of that mistake which you did in 2022. The future is bright. Kurudia kosa ndio makosa. You might have voted for this person out of emotion, out of thinking that, out of reasoning with his lies, but you don't have to be there. We can now reason together and vote a good, well-represented government, a corrupt-free government. We can do it. And guys are coming out. Okiya Mtata is doing a good thing. He is trying to explain what he can do for Kenya. I like his ideas in Spice FM today. He looks prepared for presidency. I'm hearing Matiang'i is coming. I don't know about his oral work. I have to listen to him. Murara is there. He seems to be positive, though he cannot become a president for now. But he is creating that awareness which Kenyans need to hear. Who else? I'm hearing there will be another coalition of Didinyoro and the rest. They can come. But so far, okay, there is Gachagua. I don't know Gachagua is going to team up with who. Gachagua is saying by January, he is going to make a political party which will connect with other regions. We have Kalonzo Musyoka. He has to explain himself. We have Martha Karua. They have to explain themselves. But so far, I can tell you, Kenya is being prepared for an expected president. And I have said it again here. There is a possibility in 2027, the man who will lift the Bible is a person who has never been the ballot again. And Mr. William Ruto is so doing it well that he is preparing our next president. He is actually preparing a man from the bush to come and capture power from him. And I'm very happy for that, because for the first time, we will be able to get a regular Kenyan getting power. Be assured of that. We now have a rebel ground where Kenyans can be able to reason, because tumeteswa ya kutosha. Kenyans have reached a level whereby they don't want to reason with the status quo again. That is where we are. Kenyans don't want to reason with the status quo again. So, thank you so much, Mr. William Ruto, for opening the eyes of Kenyans, allowing Kenyans to understand that change of power matters. You can elect somebody and you go to hell. You have shown us that one so clearly, that regime changes can be a path to hell. But John Jan, Mr. William Ruto has shown us that way. Mr. William Ruto has shown us that you can elect somebody and you arrive Columbus. It is now visible. It is shown. Your difference to devastation can be your vote. We have now seen it. We don't need somebody to explain to us. We don't need a witchcraft, any person even with the powers of witchcraft to explain to us. We have seen actually a voter's ID can take you to hell if you misuse it. That's not something which we have now seen. And moving forward, Kenyans will be very serious with their voter's card. The greatest weapon that has been created for civilized democracy. And we are going to save Kenya with our voters card. No any other time again where Kenyans are going to vote for people because their own work alone has not been coupled with the talk, with the act. We will never vote of people who are so sweet in talking, but their character is not good. We had an opportunity of rejecting these people, but they came with good words. And we thought that these people were standing for Wajiko, they were standing for Kenya, but they didn't. They were standing for Kipragat, they were standing for Uma. They did. So, ladies and gentlemen, we now have a path. Let me call it that way. We now have a path of getting an unprecedented president, getting somebody from nowhere and becoming a president. That man has now been prepared by what has been happening in Kenya for the last 3 years. We now have a path of getting a president who can actually serve us. So, whichever the tribulations are happening in us, don't worry. This tribulation, they actually becoming the cornerstone which will actually build our house for the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are now saving our nation through the deeds of Mr. William Ruto. We are now saving our nation by understanding that voting a wrong person can crumble your life. And never again Kenyans will ever go into the ballot box to vote for somebody because somebody told them that this is our direction or we are paying debt, the useless one, which we are always been. We will never go to the ballot with that issue of paying of debt. We will be talking about civility, about projects, about inclusivity, about building a nation. Those are the things which we will be talking about. I'm very happy and I'm waiting for that leader. Mr. William Ruto, continue campaigning for the next unprecedented president of Kenya. And we are getting it. Remember, you are not getting another 5 years. That one has been determined and it is cast in cement. It cannot be changed unless if the name Kenya goes away. As long as Kenya exists, Mr. William Ruto cannot get a second term. And that one has to be the story everywhere in Kenya. We can see it and it will happen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Let's meet again on another podcast where I want to handle the effect of modern day movies in destroying our societies. Thank you.